Hey, welcome back to Leah's Leaves. Look at what I got to pick today. We're going to have rain in 2 days, so I'm kind of getting a head start on picking tomatoes so that they don't crack. I'll go out and pick a little bit more tomorrow and then process them in the next couple of days. I pulled all my sweet corn. These are the last 2 ears. I had about 12 ears altogether. I still have 4 stalks out there that were growing, and so I left them in the ground, but I had also started some new variety from seed to transplant out. I was hoping to do it today, but it's boiling hot out, so I might wait till tomorrow. And then I can get a second crop. A bunch of cucumbers. These two are hilarious. My cucumbers are growing in a raised bed, and this enormous one, I have very small hands, so just to gauge my little pudgy hands compared to this enormous cucumber. This was growing outside the bed in a corner like this, propped upright like that. The whole rest of the plant's over here. It's enormous. I probably should have just left it on the vine. I mean, it's still edible. It'll be okay. But I could have let that one go longer and then harvest it for seed because it's clearly a very healthy plant or healthy fruit. So let's look at tomatoes. These are tongue of fire bush beans. They're a quick crop. I'm picking them young because I didn't plant many of them. I didn't plant enough to get a good dry bean store, but they do make excellent dry beans as well, with like a flavor and texture of pinto beans, basically. And I picked my first small ancho chili just to encourage the plant to keep flowering and fruiting. So it's not terribly big, but it's an early picking. I still have weeks to go on my pepper crop. Here we have my single seed challenge tomato. This is called a Shemeg stew stuff. Thick walls, minimal seeds and gel, striped and shaped like a bell pepper. They're a beautiful fruit, and they grow like Rutgers tomatoes on the vine, which is what I'll show you next. These are some Rutgers tomatoes, and they're beautiful. These are just some Amish paste. This is a small Golden King of Siberia oxheart tomato. The plant itself is suffering from the heat, and it's in a container that dries out a little bit. So I did pick 3 of these that were huge a couple of weeks ago, and then I went away to camp for a week, and when I came back, they were kind of suffering. So I just picked this little one today, again, because I didn't want it to grow and crack. And there are a few more started, but I don't think I'm going to get much more of a huge crop on that particular one. These are my most excited. This is from a Tiny Tim tomato. Those are a dwarf variety tomato that only grows, mine is only about 16 inches tall and is producing all these little cherry style tomatoes. There's also, probably digging in the bottom here, these are climbing triple crop and Amish paste here at the bottom. I have them growing side by side. This is, not that one, this one. These are little yellow plum tomatoes. And then I do have some tigerellas, and they're also another saladette type. I think I buried them on the butt. Is this one? Yeah, this is one. So the tigerella has the red, yellow, orange streak, very similar to the Shemeg stew stuff. The whole point of the tomatoes this year was to grow, 1, a variety of sizes for various purposes, and 2, to begin settling on some of my favorites. My beefsteaks are nowhere near ready yet. They're doing great. I have some Ponderosa Pink tomatoes and a Brandywine potato leaf variety. Most of mine are regular leaf varieties except for that one. And then I grew a couple of plum tomatoes, and those are just now ripening. They were sort of a late addition to the garden, so I won't get any of those till August. And then the paste tomatoes, I do have some San Marzano and the Amish paste, both paste varieties like this one, and they are just now beginning to color. So, but there's a bunch of them coming in. So I'm going to have a pretty good tomato crop as we go. And I will be putting these up into sauces and preserving them. A lot of the whole ones and beefsteaks I'll freeze just by coring the top, scoring the bottom, putting it in a freezer bag, leaving it whole with the skin on to be thawed and cooked at a later date. They won't go back to having their original fresh texture, but they taste fine, they cook fine in that process. I feel like there's somewhere hiding in here is a pink tomato. That's not it. It's like one of the... Oh, there it is. I'd never grown a pink tomato before. I honestly can't remember what variety this is. This might just be a young or younger or immature pink ponderosa. But I have more coming. Anyway, it's the first pink tomato I ever had. So, growing lots, trying different things. I have some Glacier and Manitoba. I've shown you those in previous videos. Those are both almost spent. They are bred for cooler climates, so they were able to get an early start this spring. Even though we had cool temperatures, they could survive it, and they created these little saladette-sized tomatoes. The Manitoba should have been larger than they were, but that was a failing on my part, keeping up with the watering in the container. I have a Super Sweet 100. That's the only hybrid I'm growing. All the rest are heirlooms that you're looking at. And I'm very, very excited about the Ponderosa Pink because it is extremely healthy. I'm just waiting for it to change color. The only other one that I'm growing that you're not looking at here is my very favorite yellow tomato is a Golden Jubilee. And they are hidden by the Rutgers tomato now. So they're ripe and they're plumping up and the vine is very healthy, but they're not getting as much direct sunlight for the ripening process. So as the Rutgers comes spent, which is soon, pretty soon it'll be done, that's a determinate variety, then the Golden Jubilee will be able to take off, and I know I'll be able to pick some of those as well. More on the way. How exciting. Oh, one last thing. The rest of my harvest today came from okra. This is heavy hitter okra. This was a new variety at Baker Creek this year. And of course, burgundy okra, which I grew last year and I loved it. And the plants are very beautiful and the okra tastes good. So I grew a couple of each of these. As many okra growers will tell you, if you don't stay on top of harvesting, they go from the proper size to way too big in like 5 hours. So that's kind of what's happened here is I had to leave some pods on the plant that I'll just let grow to maturity and harvest them for seeds because they're too big for me to eat. And then these are just, again, I picked a few more peppers off of early varieties just to encourage the plant not to go to seed but to continue fruiting. So these are by no means mature. There's I think these might be the Fatali pepper. This is a Serrano, and these are some jalapenos, all still green. None of them mature, but I'll cook with them anyway. They're still edible. You can eat a pepper at basically any stage of development. So give me an update on how your growing season is going while I get busy processing some tomatoes. I'm learning a lot sharing it here, and I hope you'll come grow with me. Bye.